You talked about how some of the candidates are, some of the candidates used to support Obamacare or some aspect of it, we shouldn't nominate them. There's a sense among a lot of people that there's a great deal of similarity between all of the Republican candidates, that in a primary people tend to sort of overemphasize the differences between the candidates. And what people sometimes say is the one exception to that is Ron Paul. Do you have a sense of that? That there are ways in which a lot of the other candidates are similar? And do you think there are ways that Ron Paul is similar to the other candidates, and very important ways in which he's radically different?
I think the main thing that I would say is different is that if you truly believe that the debt is going to consume us as a nation and it is an imminent threat to our country, that you need someone who would actually propose a plan that balances the budget, who would actually cut departments and cut spending. If you think, oh, I'm an old school Reagan conservative, as everybody likes to say they are, well, Reagan believed in eliminating the Department of Education. You need to research the candidates and find out who voted to double the size of the Department of Education and who has consistently voted for smaller government. I think that most of the other candidates will keep us pretty close to the status quo. I think they will be better than President Obama, and I will support the Republican nominee because I think they will be better, but I think it'll be marginally better, and I think, and I am a little bit biased in this, I think Ron Paul will be dramatically better.
So balancing the budget on debt, and we can't not talk about foreign policy, there seems, what a lot of people say is, the big difference is foreign policy. We had a similar forum with Newt Gingrich where he actually said the one candidate he couldn't support was Ron Paul, and it was on the basis of foreign policy. How would you sum up the Ron Paul foreign policy?
I think there's an anomaly in that conservatives say they want to be conservative with money domestically, but they're very liberal with your money internationally. And I think that's the real disconnect. And Ron Paul is one of the few people who believes that we need to be conservative with our money domestically and internationally. Ron Paul believes that national defense is the most important thing the federal government does. It's an enumerated power, and it's really what the federal government is instituted to do. We can't do it. We don't really want a New Hampshire Army and a Virginia Army and a Kentucky Army to contend against foreign threat. So it is what the federal government should do. That being said, the Constitution wanted some checks and balances. It gave the power to declare war to Congress and not to the president. It was a division of power to make it a little more difficult to go to war and to make sure your people's representative, that you could call up your congressman and say, this is what I think about this war, that there would be a vote on it, and that we wouldn't give all of that power to one person. We were going to separate that. I think Ron Paul's the only one really who emphasizes that. And it's not an immaterial question. We went to war in Libya, not on the ground, but a significant war, billions of dollars spent without the approval of Congress. And President Obama even said no president should unilaterally go to war without the authority of Congress, then he did it anyway. I think that's a big difference.